what we call there the top, the foreman. He had about 5 daughters. They were all beautiful women, young, single. And there was a little lady there, which was a cousin to these girls, that her father and mother had both deceased. And she was brought over there to live with her uncle. And those girls, they wasn't those fancy type of frilly frocks, you know, and they just took this poor little girl and they just treated her like she was some animal. All the hard work poured right on her. She washed the dishes, she cleaned up, she fixed the bunks, she had to do it all. And they just stayed around with polished fingernails and manicure and stuff on their lips and all fixed up, you know, just prissy. And especially did they do this when they heard that from Chicago, the big packing company who owned the outfit, his young single son was coming to visit the ranch. Oh, did they dike out in good clothes? And did they dress and make ready for his coming? And each night the conversation would be, they were going to dance this young man and marry him, they would own the ranch themselves, for the son would fall heir to all. So they made themselves ready. Of course, that poor little cousin, that reminds me of an offcast somewhere. You can appreciate her. She was a beautiful woman. But oh my, she was a nice little girl, but she was not even considered a woman, not as a relative. So the poor little fellow just went ahead working, and when the young man arrived, they didn't know it, but he come looking for a wife. He thought, oh, God bless me, I'll be a real girl. That'll be a real mother to my babies, and somebody who'll not hang at all the sewing circles and the societies and things, but will just be a real mother. What did he find when he got there but the same thing that he had condemned in Chicago? And they were going to throw one of those big parties. Many of you people remember that old Charleston dance they did. So as he looked around after a while, he's so discouraged, he walked out the door, and going back, walking in the moonlight towards the bunkhouse, he heard somebody coming home. And looking around, and here went this little girl with a great big pan of dishwater, way in the night, barefooted, to throw the dishwater out. And as soon as he saw her, something in her said, that's her. That's the one. So he put himself in the way, and that's when she come back along the crowd fence, well, he was standing there, and she almost hated it. He said, how do you do? And he said, what's your name? And she told him her name, and it was the same name of the boss of the ranch. Said, then I can't understand how this, is that your father? Said, no, I'm just a cousin, you see. My father and he were brothers. I've got the same name, but that's the boss. She was so gotten that he would speak to her even. And she hung her little head down, and she ran into the house. And he never said no more, but he kept watching her. The night before he left, he was to leave the next morning, just throwing her at a big party, and he watched for her. He couldn't find her. He knew she had to do the dishes and so forth. So the dirty work and all could be thrown off. And this boy caught the little lady that night coming out. He said, I've watched you. No one knows it but myself. He said, I've come out here looking for a wife. And all that I have ever seen, you meet the requirement. How did she feel? Just imagine how those girls must have felt when they looked out the window and saw holding hands with that little despised cousin. The man that they tried to death with all their big fine frocks and frills and carrying on. And he said, will you marry me? Oh, she said, sir, I'm not worthy. That's the way the real church feels about it. I'm not worthy. If I could just wash your dishes, it'll be all right. So when he left, he told her he'd be back at a certain time. So when you begin to see, there's a winter, so when you begin to see those trees begin to bud younger, and mesquite and stuff begin to take on your life, and then I'll be back about springtime. I understand, I couldn't say it was true, but the girl only got about $1.75 a week for her labor. But she saved every penny of it. Why? She was getting ready for the wedding that was to be. She was saving her money for her wedding gown. And so finally one evening, while she was standing there, and they were laughing and making fun of her, and telling her she was silly, all at once, what happened? Across the hill come a buckboard, and stopped in front of the gate, and she ran. She said, I knew you would come. That's to be the church someday. She threw herself in his arms, and he said, darling, I have had a man stationed on this ranch since I left here last year. Has brought me a report of everything that you've done. He said, and he has told me that you waited and you worked and you've labored patiently waiting for me to come. Now you've been a slave for a long time. Now your slave days are over. I grow on the minister. Right under this rose trellis, you become my wife. He kissed her with the wedding ring on her finger, and picked her up and set her in the buckboard with his arm around her, and drove off to find this new big palace on outer drive in Chicago to slept another day, where she could live as his bride. Why? She was made. She lived and been the kind of a woman that he wanted. It happened just in the snare of a moment. And that sudden, secret coming of the Lord. The world don't know what's going to happen, but we do. It's at hand. They kept her virtues and was waiting for the coming of the Lord. Because it'll be secret and sudden.